been hit with a plane, and you can see she's pretty well dug up.
Okay.
It would worry you, maybe. Okay, I'm going to show you why not to be worried about it. See that? I haven't worked on it very long, very hard. But all those gouge marks have just turned out. And you're getting the texture now. So you're starting, it sort of fares itself. So you don't, what I'm really trying to get off of the plane is these little gobs of glue and a ridge like this, because all it does is take you a lot longer than the sand. And it's easier really to get rid of the plane and be done with it. The areas you have to watch out for with a sander are right in here. This is probably the most dangerous area for somebody using the sander on the first boat, because you tend to try to cut this way down, you know, and you hit that edge, you got to remember you only got 1/4 of an inch.
Right.
Now out here, 1/4 of an inch is a lot of wood, because you're hitting a big area, you know, and you're not going to cut through this. But right up in here where you got a harsh bend, you know, and you've really twisted them and all that, the tendency is to try to sand too much, and you might get in trouble. So I just soon, when you're sanding, sort of stay right away from this area right in here, unless I'm right there, sort of keep an eye on it. I don't want anybody going through a boat, you know.
What type of sandpaper do you have on there, Matt?
This is a 36 grit. It's coarse.
Yeah.
It's about the coarsest grit that this sander will handle. If you go to anything coarser than this, or even a lot of times I used to use a 36 grit on a grinder, a regular sander polisher, but that leaves big scratch marks in the boat, and it's hard to get them out. Whereas this, the scratch marks are so small, they blend, and we'll take them out with a finer grit. But this is basically what we're going to be doing today, is getting her down this good, and then getting her down better, and hopefully we'll get some of the boats sealed. Maybe all 3 of them. Let's see.
Did Dale put the toothpicks in yet?
Okay. Or whatever. You could wait till now, and let's say even after you've planed and sanded, and then put the toothpicks in if you want. Some of these holes are filled with sawdust, but when you vacuum that off, it'll come right out. And then you can throw in the toothpicks, or you can put the toothpicks in now. It doesn't make any difference. Next up, epoxy now, and I've got, you can see this white powder here on top of the epoxy floating on it. It's ground silica, colloidal silica is what they call it. And this is to thicken the epoxy, which has already been mixed properly. And now I'm mixing the colloidal silica into it to thicken it up, to make it a better, give it a better texture for glue. If you put the straight epoxy on, it would work as a glue, but it wouldn't gap fill, and it probably wouldn't hold as well as it will in the thickened.
Do you use the same material?
Same kind of epoxy, same kind of hardener, same proportions, same everything, except I add the silica powder in this case to thicken it into a...
The silica powder is only for the oars?
Yeah, I use it anytime I'm gluing. I usually use some silica powder in it. Depending on what I'm gluing, makes a difference as to how thick you actually make it. This is good for a paddle. I put it on reasonably thick on both surfaces. I want plenty of glue to squeeze out. That way you know you've got enough in the joint.
So those are 2 pieces of spruce?
These are 2 pieces of spruce, 8 feet long. And I've already rough shaped, and it's very rough, but that's all you need. It's just to get rid of some wood that you have to plane or chisel out later. This is the blade. I usually like a blade about 5.5, 6 inches wide. And this gives me the thickness, the width of the blade that I need. It's all glued up together.
What kind of wood is that like?
This is spruce. It's light and it's reasonably strong. I think I've had one paddle shaft broken, and I asked the guy how it broke, and he said, well, he was using it to get in and out of his kayak with it. He was using it basically as a pry bar or whatever. And it just wasn't strong enough to take his full weight. But for any, and all the, Lord knows how many hundreds of miles I've paddled, I've never yet broken a shaft or a blade.
Do you have to put,
I usually put this one on first. Line these up. You don't have to be real fussy with this, but you don't want to get real careless with it either. A lot of times if I have trouble with them lining up or something, I'll put a couple of thin strips on here and a little spring clamp. I'm not having any problem with these. Coming back up with this blade, the blade's flat and not pushing against the wind. The reason for not doing feather paddles is you're twisting your wrists every time you take a stroke, and a lot of people get tendonitis. And if you have it feathered the wrong way, then you not only get tendonitis, but every stroke you take is awkward. So I usually recommend the plain straight ones for beginners especially. Start from there.